The United States men's national team really concerns me. They just took that 5-1 loss to Colombia in that friendly match. And we're just going to talk a little bit about that, as well as the national team overall. I mean, I've said it in my previous video. I did a Copa America predictions video. If you haven't checked that out, please do so. But I talked about the United States. I talked about how great of a team they have. And they really do. On paper, they have a lot of big names. They have Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Tim Weah, Tyler Adams, Brendan Aronson, and so on and so forth. And I've said that this is the best American side that we have ever seen ever. But the performance that they put out there against Colombia, and obviously with that horrific result, you should be absolutely ashamed of yourself. Losing 5-1 to one of your competitors for this upcoming Copa America. These friendly matches are supposed to prepare you for these big nations that you're going to be facing. You're going to be facing the likes of Argentina, Uruguay, Colombia, Brazil. And if you can't do it against these big nations, then you're not going to ever win the Copa America, let alone win a World Cup. I feel like the United States have this agenda of being like the best nation in the world when it comes to soccer, whether that's at the MLS, whether that's on the national team level. The United States are killing it with the women. Like the women's are doing a phenomenal job, as they should. But on the men's side of things, they are really struggling in terms of their development, in terms of their progress. I feel like there is just no progress in terms of developing players, in terms of playing well, getting results, and it just seems like we can't compete with the rest of the nations around the world. We had that World Cup run in 2022, which was okay. We were facing a pretty difficult group, but it was a young team, an inexperienced team, not a lot of expectations pretty much from the United States, just to try to get as far into the competition as possible. But I feel like now it's a completely different story. I mean, with all the players that are playing in Europe now, and I know that where you play doesn't really matter, but players like Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams, they're playing at the highest level of football that you possibly can. Christian Pulisic is killing it for Milan right now. Weston McKennie is having like a recovery season for Juve. And they have a lot of players that are in the top 5 leagues. And whether the leagues matter or not, like when you have players like that, there is just no reason for you to be playing bad, even if it's like, or there's no reason for you to be losing 5-1 to anybody. And people will turn to a lot of excuses for why this happened, that the United States isn't really good, that they're blaming on Christian Pulisic, that he isn't a great player. Whatever the excuse you want to turn to, go for it. I don't want to say this is an excuse, but for me, I feel like a huge problem is coming from the head coach, Greg Berhalter. This guy should have never come back. I don't know why they decided to fire him and then bring him back, like I said, back when all that drama was happening with Gio Reyna. But I feel like this is not the guy that can help you win a Copa America. This is not the guy that can help you be successful in a World Cup campaign and just these international tournaments. I mean, in CONCACAF, it's one thing. Yeah, you guys were beating Mexico and you guys were on that run for a bit, but it's not enough. Beating Mexico barely, sometimes maybe, is not enough to consider yourselves a true contender for the rest of the world. Mexico is a great nation. They have a lot of valuable players. They have a lot of great players, but the United States is just so far off from the rest of the world. And I feel like there's some sort of delusion that USSF has, thinking that they can actually compete with the likes of Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, France, Netherlands, Germany, Spain. Like there's just no way. They can't even beat teams in their own respective federation, and they're expected to win a World Cup. It's just insane. The point of this video is just to talk about the United States and how devastatingly embarrassing that performance was. Also, on a side note, nobody showed up. No American fan showed up to that game. Everybody in that stadium was Colombian. I mean, but it makes a lot of sense, right? There's obviously a lot of Colombians in the United States. In that area specifically, like in New York, New Jersey, like DC, I'm pretty sure there's like it's like full of Colombians. And now they're going to be playing Brazil on Friday, which this video should be uploaded on the day that they play Brazil. And how is that going to go? You can argue that Brazil is a way better team than Colombia, but how is the United States going to put up with Brazil? Like there's no possible way that the US will actually be able to compete against the Brazucas. 5-1 to Colombia, and they could have scored more. Colombia could have scored a lot more. And this would be the last friendly before the Copa America. I just don't see that. If they can't perform well against this Brazil side, there's absolutely no hope for them. And I understand these are two very good teams. These are very two good nations. But it's like you have to compete against them. It's not like, oh, but it's friendlies, it doesn't count. Oh, but these are two big nations, like it's not really fair. No, like if you can't beat the big teams, then what's the point? And first of all, people who say that the result doesn't matter, no, that's absolutely nonsense. If you're a professional professional athlete, you want to win no matter what the result is. There's no such thing as, oh, it doesn't matter. No, every game matters to you, whether that's a friendly and whether that's an official game. You want to win, you want to perform well. And there's a lot of people saying that, oh, it doesn't matter. There's just a preparation game for the Copa America. And even in the press conferences for the United States, whether it was Greg Berhalter or whether it was Christian Pulisic, they were kind of just shrugging off the game like it was nothing. They were asked about like the amount of fans that showed up, like supporting Colombia, or they were asked about like obviously the 5-1 defeat, the absolutely embarrassing performance that they put out there on home soil, essentially. And they just kind of like shrugged it off. They just shrugged it off like it was absolutely nothing to worry about. And like they didn't have a game against Brazil in a couple of days. Like the Copa America is not next week. So I honestly don't know what the problem is for the United States. All I could tell you is that they are far from where they want to be. They aren't going to be successful at all in the soccer world if they continue on this path, because honestly, from having the golden generation, they are on a severe decline in terms of quality on the pitch, in terms of performances, in terms of actually getting results in front of, and in terms of competing against these other nations. And it's really sad to see. And I'm very worried that I'm not going to be able to see a United States national team, a men's United States national team, I should specify, that could actually compete in a World Cup or compete in a Copa America whenever we do get that chance. Like there has never been a team outside of Europe or South America that has ever won the World Cup, and there have only been 3 instances where teams from outside of Europe and South America even made it to like the semifinals. The United States, I'm pretty sure, made it to the final, the semifinal in 1930, and then Japan made it some point after that. Now in 2022, we saw Morocco go all the way to the semifinals. Like, when are we going to see the United States actually succeed and actually start competing? Because it doesn't look like they're ever going to do that in my lifetime. And that's very upsetting for me. You want to see your home nation at least be competitive, and losing 5-1 just doesn't give you hope at all. But let me know what you guys think down below. What do you think the problem is with the United States, their national team, maybe their system in general? Who do you think the problem is? Do you think it's the head coach? Do you just think the players just can't click well together? Do you think it's just the USF as a system in general? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know what you guys think, because this is a real dilemma that I feel like the United States need to sort out if they ever want to be competitive in the soccer world. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave a like if you have enjoyed, and remember to subscribe to the SoFlo Soccer channel for more soccer/football content. I'll see you guys in the next one.